Hello everyone and welcome to a Dawn of War Pro shoutcast. This is YayaBunWa and here we have a match between Yaoquizque once again and Fearevius. This is a Necron versus Imperial Guard, and this is Meeting of Minds Pro, the Dawn of War Pro version. Now although Yao did take random, he has kindly told his opponent that he's playing Imperial Guard. Now, the Imperial Guard has gone for a 4 Guardsman build, or 1 Tech Priest for Imperial Guardsman squad command squad, and the Necron has gone for a Forbidden Archive Summoning Core, and I believe, since I've already watched the start of this, I already know, they will go for Flayed Ones and Wraith Squad. Now, meanwhile, the Necrons start off with all their scarabs, and so they've gone out and they've built a couple of generators. Meanwhile, they're also looking to take over 1 point, since they'll need... for 1 Flayed Squad and 1 Wraith Squad, it's fine. They have enough pop. But if they want to build any more units after that, then they'll need to build a listening post, or 2 listening posts. I think one or 2, I'm not quite sure. Now, the Imperial Guard is just slowly capping out, whilst reinforcing, I believe, one of their squads. No, not quite yet, but they probably will soon, leaving maybe 1 squad or 2 squads to cap the map, run around, take the critical location. So one of the differences in the Dawn of War Pro version of this map is, as you can see, the critical location here is open to both sides, and same with the other side. On top of that, the relics are in more vulnerable positions, and there's a strategic point that's further out that can be contested, rather than having one at the back of the base. Now, let's see, I believe that the Imperial Guard researched their psychers. Yep, so they're starting to do a harass, and here comes the first Flayed One squad, which is bugged out a little bit. It's still doing its animation in reality, to deploy to deep strike, and trying to stop this command squad from being able to kill and stop the scarabs from being able to cap. Now, at the same time, this scarab squad will probably start to build a listening post on that point. There we go. To increase their pop cap. Also, on top of that, Necrons have a unique... now, Imperial Guard have a unique mechanic called fire support resource, and as they get further in the game, they rely on this resource for building stuff such as higher tier vehicles, things like Leman Russ, Baneblade, etc. And as for the Necrons, here the Necrons, they have, so I believe they have 2 Wraith squads. I think they did. I'm not quite sure. Oh, 1, 2. There they are. Alright, so Wraith squads, they don't... So, there's the Necrons have gone for a build that I want to talk about. Their, okay, here's a good example. The Wraiths are almost instant killing the Guardsmen, and whilst that might seem absurd, they are extremely expensive. 100 energy each. Well, of course, being an army that only has energy, it's 1 resource, being Necrons, but still 100 per unit, and they don't have that much armor or HP, relatively speaking, so they're kind of a bit of a glass cannon unit. So they rely on sync kills and killing light infantry units. So when it comes to trying to kill heavy infantry units, they're not that proficient. That's where the Flayed Ones come in. And the Flayed Ones in combat, even against commanders, as you saw against command unit, they can hold their own. Now, whilst this is all happening, the Necrons are slowly being choked out a little bit here. They lost this outer point here. They probably want to fight back. It seems like they're going to try and at least force some kind of contention here, do a little bit of damage, but since the Imperial Guard went Psykers, one of their unique features, at least in DoWpro, is that they reduce incoming range damage, and they have a spell in tier 1 that they can use to target a single unit and deal a lot of damage. And against this Necron build, it's unless they're going to focus the spell on the Wraiths, they don't have all that many targets. Now, the Necrons at the same time, as I can see, like over here, they just completely annihilated a squad. I believe the Wraiths can decap points, but they can't cap them. I'm not quite sure about that. We'll find out. Yeah, well, I guess we won't find out anyway. Yeah, as you can see, the Imperial Guard has, let's see, 1, 2. So they got 2. So their resources current at 117 rec income is quite strong. And the Necrons are diving quite deep, trying to, with their full melee army, are trying to keep the Imperial Guard running around, keep them reinforcing their squads, and keep them from being able to fortify themselves too much. And as you can see, building another guardsman squad after losing one at the over here. The Necrons have now been able to, they've been able to take all their points back. I'm not sure if that's a tier 2 monolith. But yeah, Necron's been able to do that. Now, I don't know. Yeah, so they did. So the Necrons also have the unique ability where early game they can use an ability that costs power to target a single Necron squad that allows them to teleport back to, or teleport to a allied building, and so they use that to withdraw this flayed one squad. So it seems like the Necrons have lost one in the whole entire process. They did do a fair bit of damage, although it doesn't seem it, because the Imperial Guard were constantly reinforced. They had a lot of squads, and they've now come here and pressured on this. As I was saying earlier, it's a lot easier to pressure this relics point, and 2 entry points here. The Imperial Guard will come over to this side, probably take out this point, probably take out the generator, and then come over here and decap this relic. What you're seeing here, this little fog that you can see, is an effect of generators, and is an effect that certain Necron units and abilities, especially from the Necron Lord, can give to enemies, and it reduces their line of sight. Now, the Necrons, one of the unique features that they've got, as you can see here in the top left-hand corner, this percentage, the more, for every strategic point that they have, this increases by 3%, and for every listing post that they build, on a strategic point, it increases by 3%, and then for every relic and critical location, increases by 6%. And what this does is, for Necrons, since a lot of their army, especially early game, and depending on how much map control they've got, the more that they're denied map control, and since that tends to be a point of contention for Necrons, since, you know, their units don't cap, only their scarabs can, being a point of weakness for Necrons, being able to stop them from being able to take as much of the map as possible is a very feasible option. And the consequences of that is that the higher this percentage is, the faster that buildings and units can be produced by the Necrons. So the percentage, this number can only go as high as 66%, so there is a limit to it. And it being at 50%, it is nearing max, meaning that the Necrons are doing quite well at maintaining a decent portion of the map. So although it looks like the Imperial Guard up until now, at least up until a moment ago, were doing tremendously well, as you can see, the Necrons have been able to come back with a fully built and kitted army after losing most of their army. quickly retreating this Wraith, probably hoping, yes. Oh no, that Wraith was about to jump back up, and of course that only works if there's units that jump back up in, well, I think it's in all versions. Seems there's a battle going on over here, but this Imperial Guard unit will probably jump into this listening post and keep itself defended. And this Flayed One squad, I'm not sure. It seems to be holding out pretty well, but they're losing, and there goes another one. If they pop back up, though, it might not be quite as simple. Now, the Imperial Guard is coming down to this point to stop this counter and try and take down one of the relics, but this Flayed One squad is suffering a lot of damage over time, and for the cost of a single Guardsman squad, it's not quite worth it. So they've teleported out just now, showing off their ability. Necrons are tier 2 for sure now, building their first destroyer. Losing a Scarab squad there, it seems, which does hurt the Necrons, since a lot of their core units are built from their monolith. So if they have to rebuild their Scarabs and reinforce them, well, on top of that, the Scarabs are the only squads that can cap and build. There's a lot of different applications to the Scarabs, and if they're dead, well, even if you're rebuilding them, it's time lost. That that's stuff that could be done. Now it seems like Yal has got one of his first upgrades for his command squad, allowing him to get another commissar, and the Necrons have, there we go, the first appearance of a Necron Lord this game. This little monolith, not only does it reduce, have an aura that gives to nearby Necron squads, or to nearby enemies, I should say. This shadow reduces range damage done as well, and it also, this structure, as you can see, disrupted and knocked everyone around. It does cost money, it does cost energy to use it, so it's not free, and of course it's got a cooldown, but it is another point that Necron units can teleport to, giving the Necrons the ability to, although they might be slow in nature, teleporting is their biggest strength. Now, with a destroyer out, now the Necrons have their melee units with the Wraiths. I'm not sure if the Wraiths want to go in on this. They might suffer quite a bit of damage, and there goes a Psyker spell, but they've gotten into combat. I'm not sure if Yarl's focusing over here or if he's focusing over here. A Sentinel's coming out and another Sentinel on its way. But these Wraiths are getting a lot of sync kills, and every time a Wraith gets a sync kill, that's time that they've spent where they don't get damaged. But Yal has done a little bit of damage in this top right hand corner. I'm not sure if he's going to try and cap that point, or if he has already taken the critical location up there. So slowly the Necrons, they have done some decent damage here, but they are also being pushed back, and it seems like they're looking to retreat. Now the Necron Lord will probably jump away. Oh, okay, so they're going to try and take out this listening post. It's a good decision, even if they lose a couple of units. Oh, and they deep strike a Flayed One squad in there. And at the same time, what are they aiming to do here? 2 squads of Scarabs have come over here. So it seems like this Imperial Guard squad up here is free to do it at once, and these 2 Scarab squads, yes, the Imperial Guard squad turns around and decides that it's better off, oh, okay, but a destroyer's been sent up here to deal with this squad and will most likely win that fight. Pardon me. Meanwhile, though, oh, okay, these Sentinels are all being upgraded with las cannons, most likely so that they can deal with the destroyers, but their damage isn't all that bad against heavy infantry either. Not as good, I believe, as their native damage against, say, like the Flayed Ones, and the Flayed Ones are really doing a lot of damage, and after doing so much damage to all these points, they did miss 1 point there, but they've taken out 1 listening post 2 at least, the second one there. So that's 3 listening posts that they've taken out, and Yarl's, yes, he was at 117 at his highest, and that squad that was up here, had a Psyker in it, was completely maxed out against one destroyer, is down to just a naked squad. But here comes the Sentinels, an army of Sentinels. I think the and here you can see the destroyer just completely obliterated by these 4 Sentinels, and I'm not quite sure. An energy core. Okay. Alright, so it seems that Necrons has gone into tier 3, and the Necrons are probably going to try and buy some time at this point. These four Sentinels have blocked them off from being able to do any obvious ploys until they've got their energy core up and can start going for high tier units. Here it seems like there's a Flayed One squad most likely that's in there, but they don't really, I mean, here they are attacking the army of the Imperial Guard and perhaps hoping to do a little bit of a kind of quote-unquote base trade. But these 4 Sentinels, if they're left alone, and I'm not really sure what the answer's going to be. What's this? So he's upgrading his warriors and immortals. He's perhaps looking to build an immortal squad. And here we go. Yeah, right. So he's got an immortal squad coming out. Immortal's been very effective against the Sentinels. And here we go. Now we can see it. Well, the damage is... Are all of them shooting? They are, right. But they do have a couple of reinforcements to go. An all-round unit. But meanwhile, the Imperial Guard has had to completely retreat into their base. I'm not sure whether the Necrons will look to teleport out here, but just simply being able to take out all these generators is plenty damage enough. Though every time one of these generators explodes, it is doing damage to the Necrons, scattering them, and all this damage from this HQ is slowly whittling down, especially on this Wraith squad. He might just lose this Wraith squad, which I'm not sure he really minds at this point after the amount of damage he's managed to do. He's still going, and if he continues, I mean, that's 3 generators at least. Meanwhile, there is a 3 plasma squad, which is actually holding its own against this squad. So whilst we do have the Flayed Ones and the Necron Lord taking out all these generators, at the same time the Imperial Guard striking the Necron's base at the exact same time on the opposite side. So neither races are really going to be able to walk out of this. This is probably going to be a tight game if this game goes for much longer. There goes the Forbidden Archive, and the Summoning Core is probably going to be taken out. There's a Wraith squad here chasing a squad of guardsmen, and that guardsman squad, I'm not really sure how they'll go, but here goes the Necrons turning around, taking the field command. If they can take the HQ, I'm not sure the IG will struggle to come back from this. In fact, they'll only have 2 other buildings left, but at the same time, these Immortals are the only ones left defending. And no, I think the Necrons are going to be able to defend here, but will the Imperial Guard be able to defend? There's a tech priest here, and here it seems like, yes, I think the Necrons are looking to retreat. They can't take out this field command with this tech priest, and I think they know it now. The Necron Lord's low on health, he teleports out, the Flayed Ones are running. They might be looking to teleport out, or they might just have been forgotten. They might just have been, no, they just a little bit of mismanagement there, but not a big deal after such a great defense by both sides. But really, given Imperial Guard's strength and being able to defend, now with 2 minutes left on the countdown timer, the Necrons are going to have to mount some kind of assault on either this middle point, critical location, or this bottom critical location. And in a normal game, most armies would be distracted and they wouldn't be too worried about throwing away some of their army. So here a Scarab scouts out this top point, but if this point's taken, that's three critical locations, and the Imperial Guard know this, so they're going straight for the Necron's base, sort of saying, if you're going to go out and protect your army and decap. And there goes another Scarab. How many Scarabs do they have left? I'm not actually sure now. I believe so. One Scarab there, and he understands, and he's running his Scarab away. So here we've got the Wraiths decapping. As I said, so like I said earlier, they can decap. Oh, and a Pariah squad. Pariah? I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, actually. But that's an elite equivalent of Terminators for Necrons. So Necron Lord and them. But Necrons, they've managed... No, they've got 30 seconds left. They actually... What are they going to do? Alright, so they're sending the Wraiths down here. But here we have a clash. This is a big clash. The Imperial Guard don't really have the choice like the Necrons of teleporting out. And this countdown, will he make it? He's going to make it. He's going to make it, and that stops it. He manages to stop the countdown, and I'm not sure whose favour this is in. 65 income for the Necrons, 111 for the Imperial Guard, and they've managed to 4 generators back up and running. They are back in this, whilst no one has any super generators. Imperial Guard economically in a really good position. The only real advantage that the Necrons have is that, well, they have a tier 3 unit out in the field, and but yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. Imperial Guard doing some what do you call it? Attacking from multiple sides, pincer tactics, and some Wraiths coming out here to try and tie up these squads and get some kills, and forcing the Imperial Guard to run away. The Imperial Guard they do have 2 squads here, so they could micromanage this one squad, but a little difficult to do on both sides of the map at the same time with Necron Lord. Now that it's tier 2, there's this pillar now also does a little bit of regeneration. You can sort of see it slowly regenerating, not as fast as how much damage has been done, but it is regenerating. But this Pariah squad is slowly being whittled down. These guardsmen full of plasma guns. If we swap over so that we can clearly see how many. So on this side, the a Mars pattern's out. It's not building anything at the moment, but it's not like the Necrons know that. Now the Necrons teleport back out. They teleport out their Immortals. Did they get out their Pariahs? I'm not sure if they might have. Oh god, one survived. Oh, that's very fortunate. But the Necron Lord does fall. The Wraiths do manage to escape, and the Necrons, their economy is not looking good. 1, 2, 3, 4 generators. These little points here, they can only be... So I haven't really had a chance, and this is the first time that I'm casting Necrons, and it's been so full on that I haven't had much of an opportunity to explain the mechanics of their economy. But these little things on the ground, these Necron slag volcano, as they're called, points, they're built by, they're summoned, I should say, by Necron Scarabs, and they have to be a certain distance away from another slag deposit, and only a generator can only be built on top of them, which means that that's why they've been spread out like this. It's not because the Necrons did it for some strategical point. I mean, it is strategically, for instance, this one's strategically placed there, but it's not because they want to put it outside their base. It's because they don't have a choice. These Wraiths the Wraiths in this game have really been doing a lot of work in this game. I'm not sure. I think this minefield is built and it's just very low on health, but unfortunately Wraiths don't do terribly well against listing posts. As soon as they get into an enemy base, and there goes the Wraiths, that Wraith squad, and although one popped back up, that doesn't really matter. So these Fearevius, they teleport back out. Every time the Necrons teleport out, I think that must be an innate ability of the prize to be able to teleport. But every time the Necrons teleport back to base, that's costing them money. And although here you can see they're trying to do some damage, they're going to get chased down. The pariahs run back in, but the Imperial Guard, they've got considerable upgrades on their units. They've got a lot of plasma pistols, and although you've got, little skirmishes happening here and there where the skirmishes the Necrons are winning, but all the Imperial Guard really has to do, and here you can see the Imperial Guard again setting up like they did on their outer positions, some minefields if they can. Another minefield here, and they've continued to do that. So the Necron base, let's see, do they still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Although they have 5 generators now, it's not enough. I think the Necrons, they're not floating much at all. They just cancelled a building, that's why it jumped up. But where is the Fearevius? So they've got the Fearevius squad there, 1 immortal. This might be game over for the Necrons, and although they've held out really well and done some really good pincer tactics, the Imperial Guard did some amazing pincer tactics themselves, so really well played by Yaoquizque, also pressuring using the critical locations, and although amazing use of the Wraiths this game, and some really good base trading, I guess you could say. It wasn't quite base trading in the sense that they didn't swap bases, but the Imperial Guard and their sort of sentinel charge, although the Necrons were able to sort of hold on with the use of Wraiths and Pariahs, they were never really able to get back their they had those 2 squads of flayed ones, and at that point they were looking really strong, but after they tried to, I think the point in which they tried to destroy the field command, they lost way too much. They had a Necron Lord with full health, and if he'd been upgraded with some abilities, then that really could have changed this game. Oh, pardon me. Those 2 squads of Wraiths, if they'd then later on been reinforced with the Fearevius now been dead, Pariah's been dead. I know someone will correct me on how to pronounce that, but that's okay. And here we go, the Imperial Guard taking over a spot. I think this is game over, but this has been an amazing game. Well played by both players, both Yao and Fearevius. I hope I'm saying that right. A bit of a last-ditch effort. I think Fearevius, he understands. He knows that he's stuck in his base, he's been cornered, and even if it's not over yet right now, it's just a matter of time. He's just drawing it out. But anyway, great game. Hope I could explain enough of the mechanics between the 2 races. I hope to show off a lot more of the Imperial Guard and the Necrons in the future, and hopefully be able to go into more of their mechanics a lot more, especially Necrons and frankly Sisters of Battle, Dark Elder. Those races and Tal, they've been recreated and have some very special and unique mechanics that make them very unique that I hope to be able to cover in matches soon. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this game. Well played by Yal, and I think I've covered it completely. So I hope to see you next time. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the game. If you didn't, any constructive feedback would be lovely. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.